There is a distinct quiet shock that arrives when you look into a mirror and realize you do not entirely recognize the person staring back. The face is familiar, the history is yours, but the internal architecture has shifted. You remember the beliefs you used to hold with such fierce certainty, the desires that used to keep you awake at night. Now they feel like artifacts belonging to a stranger. We carry these invisible ghosts of our former selves, dragging them into our present moments. We feel a profound dissonance when the life we are living no longer matches the blueprint we drew a decade ago. There is a deep, unspoken grief in outgrowing the person you fought so hard to become. You wonder if you have lost your way, or worse, if you have lost your very essence. But the silence of the room offers no immediate answer. There is only the steady rhythm of your breathing, the slow rise and fall of your chest in the present moment. In this quiet space, the heavy illusion of permanence begins to crack. You are left alone with the unsettling suspicion that the person you were yesterday is already gone, dissolved into the ether of memory. We live in a world that demands absolute consistency. Our social profiles, our professional resumes, our carefully curated digital histories all conspire to lock us into a fixed narrative. Society rewards the static object. We are told to find ourselves as if identity were a buried treasure waiting to be unearthed, dusted off and placed on a shelf in a glass display case forever. Thousands of years ago, long before the noise of digital permanence, a simple thought experiment captured this exact human dilemma. It centers on a legendary vessel known as the Ship of Theseus. The story goes that a famous hero returns from a great voyage and his glorious ship is preserved in the harbor as a monument. Over the years, the harsh salt water and the relentless sun begin to rot the wooden planks. To keep the monument intact, the citizens carefully remove one decaying plank and replace it with a piece of fresh, sturdy timber. Months pass, and another piece rots. It too is replaced. This slow, meticulous process continues for decades. Eventually, a day arrives when every single original piece of wood, every mast, and every nail has been swapped out. The structure standing in the harbor contains none of its original material. The question that lingers in the salty air is whether this is still the same ship. If you point to it, everyone agrees it is the Ship of Theseus. Yet the physical reality tells a completely different story. This ancient puzzle forces us to confront the terrifying and beautiful nature of our own existence. We are living out this exact paradox day by day, breath by breath, cell by cell. The human body is a masterpiece of constant change. Over the span of a few years, almost every cell in your body dies and is replaced by a new one. The skin you wear today is not the skin you wore 5 years ago. The physical structure of your brain, the very tissue that holds your memories of childhood, is composed of entirely different matter than it was back then. Sit with that reality for a second. The physical vessel you call your own is entirely transient. You are a slow-moving river of atoms, temporarily holding a human shape before passing those atoms back to the earth. There is a profound stillness in realizing that you are not a monument standing stubbornly in the harbor. You are the water flowing around it, entirely unbothered by the passage of time. When we view identity as a fluid process rather than a static object, the panic of change begins to subside. The dissonance we feel when our beliefs shift is not a sign of failure. It is the natural shedding of an old plank that can no longer weather the storm. We suffer because we cling to the rotting wood, terrified that if we let it go, we will sink. This understanding echoes through the ancient world, resonating deeply with the thinker Heraclitus. He observed the natural world not as a collection of things, but as an ongoing sequence of events. He famously noted the impossibility of stepping into the same river twice. The water you touch today is not the water you touched yesterday, and the person standing on the bank has also been irrevocably altered by time. The river is defined by its flow. If you were to dam the river, stopping its movement entirely to preserve it, it would cease to be a river at all. It would become a stagnant pool. The very essence of the river is its motion. The same holds true for the human spirit. The demand for a permanent, unchanging self is a demand for emotional and spiritual stagnation. Yet look at how fiercely we fight this current. We hold on to relationships that have long since expired because they validate an older version of who we were. We stay in careers that drain the color from our days because they match a label we adopted at 22. We exhaust ourselves trying to maintain a self-perception that was formed in a past that no longer exists. We do this out of fear. There is a profound terror in the space between who we were and who we are becoming. If I am not the person who believed those things, who loved those people, who fought those battles, then who am I? We stare into the void of our own fluid nature, and the vertigo is paralyzing. We would rather hold on to a painful, outdated identity than face the vast unknown of being undefined. But the void is not empty. It is merely quiet. It is the space where the noise of expectation finally fades away. When you stop struggling to hold the old pieces together, you drop beneath the turbulence of the surface. Down here, in the quiet depths, there is no need to defend your history. There is only the raw, unvarnished truth of presence, waiting patiently for you to arrive. The paradox of the ship reveals a beautiful secret about human nature. The identity of the ship was never located in the physical wood. It was in the blueprint, the history, the continuous journey across the water. The ship is a story that persists even as the words on the page are rewritten. You are the author of that story, not the ink that dries on the parchment. You do not lose yourself when you change your mind. You do not betray your past when you walk away from a life that no longer fits. You are simply replacing the timber. You are actively participating in your own survival. The authentic self is not a core of solid iron buried deep inside your chest. It is the continuous brave act of integrating new truths as they are revealed to you. We see the tragic consequences of ignoring this reality everywhere we look. People walking through the modern world like hollowed-out statues, desperately trying to project a consistency that feels entirely hollow on the inside. They smile the same smiles, repeat the same rehearsed opinions, and slowly suffocate under the weight of their own static labels. It is a slow death by 1,000 unmade changes. To break free from this requires a radical kind of grief. You must be willing to mourn the person you thought you were supposed to be. You must look at the meticulously crafted image of your past and grant it permission to die. It served its purpose, it got you across the ocean, but the voyage has changed, the weather has turned, and you cannot navigate the present using the maps of the past. Let the morning light fall across your face and feel the absolute newness of this exact second. You have never been here before. This breath has never been breathed. The air is cold, the room is quiet, and the heavy armor of your history is lying on the floor beside you. You do not have to put it back on. You can choose to step forward, unburdened, entirely naked to the truth of now. The ancient paradox is not a puzzle meant to be solved with logic. It is a mirror held up to the human soul. It asks us to surrender our desperate grip on permanence. It teaches us that to remain whole, we must be willing to fall apart and be rebuilt over and over again. The continuity of your being relies entirely on your willingness to let the old parts go. When you finally accept this, a profound lightness enters your life. You stop apologizing for outgrowing your old environments. You stop feeling like a fraud when your perspective shifts. You realize that feeling like a stranger to your past is not a symptom of being lost. It is the definitive proof that you are actually alive, moving, and evolving. You are functioning exactly as the universe intended. There is peace in this surrender, a quiet, unshakable remembrance of your own vastness. You are not the memories that haunt you, nor are you the anxieties that project into the future. You are the quiet awareness that watches the planks being replaced. You are the silent witness to your own magnificent transformation. In this deep internal stillness, the frantic search for a fixed identity